Yo guys, my name is Oshaw Player. Today I'm going to show you about what is my 10 top worst cards in the Clash Royale game. So I know that there are so many cards in the game that are pretty amazing, yet pretty just plain awesome, and some others are just pretty badass. But there are some cards that don't really do enough damage, or maybe it just sucks and pointless to have. Well, here I am, and here is my 10 top worst cards in the game. So, let's begin. So, on number 10, we have the Elixir Collector. Yes, the Elixir Collector is a pretty good card. It's not the best, it's not bad, it's not the best, but it's somewhere in the middle. Like that. So basically, the point of this card is it's able to collect elixirs. So basically, the point of that card, like I said earlier, is to collect elixir. But the thing that I really hate about this card is that it just took it the way how it collects its elixir just way too long, in my opinion. Because first of all, it says you gotta spend elixir to make elixir. And not to mention, this card is not gonna fit well with spam decks. Like for an example, goblins, ice spirit. No, it's not gonna be a pretty good card against it. So even though if you're just waiting for that golem to just place down, and then all of a sudden you realize that half your tower has been, then you realize that your tower has been destroyed because of the elite barb combo. Yes, I recommend you not to use this card. But in my opinion, I believe it's still good on one of the upper hand, but at the same time it's not so good. So it's somewhere in the middle, but that's just my opinion, guys. Okay, so next one we have Sparky. Yes, this card is pretty OP, but you know, since many people know how to counter this thing, not to mention it's a pretty good tank, but it doesn't do pretty much. Not to mention, it can be easily distracted from just a simple skeletons to an ice spirit, or maybe to whoops, what just happened? Show tournament level. Ooh. Okay, that is kind of cool. I didn't realize that, but anyways, I have to say, with this card, everything's just pretty amazing. But not to mention, it's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just in the middle. But at the same time, like I said earlier, just like the elixir collector that we just showed you guys, it's somewhere around that kind of level. So, as you can see there, it is a pretty OP card by doing massive damage to a tower. And yes, it is pretty badass since most of people actually use that card. But since everybody can simply zap the card, and you know, the card will be down in a matter of what, seconds. And with the skeletons, or maybe skeleton enemy, or maybe something that's too OP to kill it, yeah, I believe it can pretty be defeated. Okay, so number 8 we have Princess. Yes, I understand. Everybody hates the princess. Yet, not to mention, it's the most annoying card yet. First of all, it's able to defeat and actually destroy a tower without actually getting hit. And I have to say, that's only one good thing about the card. But the thing that really sucks about this card is it can be easily defeated by the log. Or maybe by just a couple skeletons and something like that. That's what makes the card pretty bad, its weakness. But also, this card is best in any type of way because of its range. It has a range of 9, and also I always wonder this: how come the princess towers? Okay, you have princesses, right? On those towers. How come they don't have a range of 9? How come they only have a range of... Hold up. How come they only have a range of... Oh, crap. Where is it? How come they only have a range of 7.5? 5. What the heck? I mean, that is just what I really hate about this card. Not to mention, since after all, the princess has a range of 9. And not to mention, the princess on your princess towers have a bigger advantage. I mean, many archers on a tower, right? They have lots of advantages to low ground troops. Is that right? Why not the princess? How come that one needs to shoot far, but not your princess towers? Have you always wondered that? Well, it's just the game, so I don't even know what it's about. Anyway. Okay, we're losing off track. So moving on, we have... Whoops. The Expo. Ugh. This card can be pretty annoying, but yet it has to be a pretty bad card. I'm not saying it's bad, it's not a pretty good card at the same time. It can be pretty useful to whittle down towers and stuff like that. But I mean, just by using the Expo straight ahead, I mean, I could simply beat it with the Skeleton Army, right? Or maybe a Hog Rider, or maybe something else, or maybe Elite Barbs, I don't know what. But this card has a pretty amazing range. Not to mention, it has a range of 11.5, more than the Princess, but it just tends to be that type of card that it is pretty annoying. But also, it's not bad, it's not the worst, it's pretty stupid for it just to spawn for its deploy time just for 4 seconds. I mean, really? Not to mention, his lifetime is just only for 40 seconds. I mean, come on. This card may sound OP, but the deploy time, I believe that needs to be fixed in order for the card to be a little more useful. That's just my opinion, okay, guys? But leave in the comment section below on what you think, what card can be pretty good. Whoops. Okay. Number 6, Barbarians. Yes, these guys are pretty amazing. A horde of melee attackers with mean mustaches and even a meaner tempers. So, obviously, with this card, I believe that it's a pretty good card, but not to mention, I mean, this card can be easily defeated. Fireball it, bomber if deployed correctly, or maybe even a bowler can beat it. I mean, really? This card? No. And not to mention, not many people use the Barbarians, but most people always use their cousins, the Elite Barbarians, since after all, they are pretty fast, and not to mention, they're not too slow, unlike the Barbarians that we have right here. So, by the way, I just need to say this, that the Barbarians are a pretty good defense counter, a pretty good counter against the Giant, and many other tanks, but I have to say that, but as a good offender, I don't think so. Okay, so number 5, we have skeletons. Yeah, skeletons, amazing, aren't they? So basically what these little guys do is basically try to be more like a defense card, like, oh my god, a charging prince. Place these things down and you're all set. So the reason why I like this card is it's able to actually counter a wizard and Sparky. So I have to say, how does it counter a wizard, you ask? Well, simply just place down the skeleton and voila, the wizard's dead. And not to mention, from a little assistance from the princess tower nearby, it might able to defeat the wizard without getting no damage whatsoever. So it's not bad for a 1 elixir card, but I have to say, the reason why it sucks is because it can be easily defeated. So, as you can see on its hit points, 67. And as its damage, 67. So I mean, even one of its own can simply defeat it itself. Not to mention, they're able to defeat themselves and both end up into a tie. So, I don't really see the point of using that. But also, I did use skeletons in many other of my recent videos, but I have to say, skeletons are a pretty good defense, but not a really good offense. Okay, now let's go with the bad cards that no one really uses anymore. We have Lightning. Yes, this card was actually pretty popular in Goblin Arena, but I have to say, the Lightning spell does not really do anything, since after all, it's just a spell that can only hit only 3 troops. And not to mention, if you just I heard there's actually a way to avoid lightning getting hit by a tower. Just simply place down skeletons and goblins, and this lightning won't even struck the tower. I heard that's actually one way to avoid lightning. But also this also has some advantages too. Just the thing is, its elixir cost sucks, and not to mention, I believe they reduced it down to 5. I believe it's going to be a lot more useful card. But in my opinion, I believe it just needs to be that way. So, unlike the rocket, which is able to be found in a Barbarian Bowl, I believe that those two needs to switch their rarity. Like for example, this is supposed to be an epic, and this is supposed to be a rare. But I understand where the rarity of epic comes from, since this damage only does 786 damage, which is actually not bad, and this only does, ooh, that's a lot of damage. Not to mention, I believe that these guys are supposed to switch around. But also, what's really good about the lightning is like multiple rockets. So I have to say, those are the only difference. Since after all, it has a really bad radius of 2. And also, another good thing that's about the lightning is has actually a radius of 3.5. So that's actually like 1.5 more than the original rocket. Okay, now let's go on to number 3. We have goblins. Yes. 3 fast, unarmored melee attackers. Small, fast, green, and mean. Okay, I don't really see where they found the mean anywhere. I mean, they're just nothing but thieves and Clash of Clans, and they just steal your gold. That's the only thing they're good at. Yep. Anyways, the reason why I do not like the goblins is because, first of all, they are pretty good in many ways as a defense card, but not to mention, they really suck. And no one really uses goblins anymore. Unless if you're in this arena. Yes. That tends to be the only arena with goblins in. But then, ever since when the Goblin Gang first came out, people start using the Goblin Gang against many other things, like, for an example, giants, golems, and many other things. But now, people don't really use goblins and spirit goblins anymore, since after all, why not you have, like, spend 4 elixir on wasteful golems? You can simply use 3 elixir to use on a Goblin Gang. Yes, I know, mine's level 6, but I'm right now trying to get mine donated already. So, I just simply begin a habit. So, it's nothing really that hard. But also, the reason why I do not like the goblins is that if you, oh my god, a giant skeleton coming in your way. What other way to pull it? You can't let the goblins go to the skeleton. You gotta make sure that the skeleton goes to the goblins. Yup. That's how it's supposed to go. So that's why I put, instead of goblins, I put spirit goblins, even though they're really zappable, and even though the goblins have more HP than these guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. Very sorry. Okay, we're almost done. Next on our list, we have Ice Wizard. Yes, this card can be pretty annoying by slowing your troops down, and not to mention a pretty good HP. But also, it has to be one of the worst cards yet, since after all, its damage only does 42 damage per second. And really, 42? I can't even kill a skeleton. Not even level 9. So at least we found out that one card cannot kill it. Even though this card costs about 3 elixir, and the skeletons over there is able to kill its own kind. How is that even possible? I mean, this is a wizard, for crying out loud, not some... Well, even a normal wizard can simply beat it. I don't even see... I see why it's a legendary, since first of all, it's able to slow troops down. But in my opinion, I believe it's supposed to be a lot more better card by putting more damage onto it. So, I have to say, it is a pretty good card, but no one really uses it that much. Finally, the last card has to be at its worst. Even everybody hates this card. Even though everybody doesn't really use it that often. Which card can it be? Which card can be that bad? And I'll show you in 3, 2, one. The clone. Yes, the clone. No one really uses it anymore, actually. Ever since when the clone first came out, everybody realized it has a hit point of 1 HP. So what's basically the point of the clone? So what do? They basically release the card and voila, there it is. Clone. You have it. Clone. And not to mention this card can be simply countered by just, well, using this card. Zap. I mean, why won't you... And look how much damage it does to the arena. Of area damage. 159. Not bad for a card, but I have to say, this card has to be a pretty bad card. Not to mention, it's able to be countered with Fireball and many other things. And even a simple skeleton is able to beat that cloned giant skeleton. I can see it's pretty good for combos and other to hesitate players, but for me, I don't hesitate when it comes to clone. I basically try to zap it, or maybe just use a wizard, or maybe Goblin Gang. God knows what. I think that's it. So here are some cards that could have made it, but it didn't really made it to my list. First off, okay, let's go. First off, Dark Goblin. Pretty good, but not too bad. Next one, Battle Ram. Some people still use it, and not to mention, at its level right now, I believe it can still be pretty useful. Barbarian. Okay, let's see. Barbarian Hut. Still, no one uses it, but it can be pretty easily countered. So I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so next card. Oh yeah. Next card, Motor. Simply can be defeated, but at least just took 1 damage off the tower. Guards. Simply can be defeated by a Bomber, or somewhere else, or something else. And also, last but not least, we have the Bandit. Still pretty fast, but actually a pretty good card of charging, but doesn't really do enough pretty high damage. Only with the wizard behind it, I believe. 3 Musks, not too bad. I put it in one of my favorites, but also it can be simply countered with a fireball or a rocket. Either way. So, those are all my cards. So if you guys like this video, give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys later. Damn it, I can't buy it. Bye.